These are the notes on rotations. So we did the two main types of rotations are 90-degree rotations and 180-degree rotations. Before we start, though, we want to clarify two things. One, here, okay, so we have our XY plane. So here's our y-axis, here's our x-axis. Okay, we have 4 quadrants. Okay, they are named or classified as 1, 2, 3, and 4. The signs of all the values in the first quadrant are positive, positive. So all the x values are positive because they're to the right, and all the y values are positive because they're up. They're above 0. Second quadrant has negative x values and positive y values. Quadrant 3 has negative x values and negative y values. And quadrant 4 has positive x values, negative y values. Okay, we're going to need to know that in order to do our 90-degree rotations. So first thing, let's graph our points. So we have -2, -2. That's point A. Point B is 4, -1. And C is 1, -5. So in order to do a 90-degree rotation, there's going to be 2 steps. The first step is to switch the x and y coordinates. Okay, the second step is to check the quadrant to determine the signs. Okay, so our first step is to switch the x and y coordinates. The second step is to check the quadrant to determine the signs. So what we're going to do here is we're going to take 2 and 2. I'm going to flip them. Okay, I don't care that these are negative. Doesn't matter if they're negative or positive. I'm just going to take the absolute value of those numbers, those x and y coordinates, and I'm going to flip them. Okay. That's step 1. Then I'm going to check the signs. So the point -2, -2 is in the third quadrant. If we're rotating 90 degrees, so a circle, again, remember, is 360. So each quadrant represents 90 degrees, 90 degrees, 90 degrees, 90 degrees. So if we're rotating 90 degrees, we're going 1 quadrant over. We're going 1 quadrant counterclockwise or 1 quadrant clockwise. Okay, and again, counterclockwise is this way. Okay, clockwise is going to be this way. Okay, clockwise is this way, counterclockwise is this way. So if we're moving, say, counterclockwise, if they don't tell us which way we're going, we're just going to assume counterclockwise. So if we're taking the point -2, -2, and we're going counterclockwise 90 degrees, we're going to go over 1 coordinate counterclockwise, or 1 quadrant counterclockwise. So -2, 2 is going to end up in quadrant 4. So we look over and say, what are the signs for quadrant 4? The signs for quadrant 4 are positive and negative. So we're going to have a +2 and a -2. Okay. So 2, -2. Okay. So we rotated 90 degrees. Okay. Let's take the next point, 4, -1. Okay, first step is to switch the x and y coordinates. Again, I don't care that that's a negative. We just switch them. So we have a 1 and a 4. Point 4, -1 is in quadrant 4. If we rotate it 90 degrees, quarter of the way around, it's going to be in quadrant 1. We're just going 1 quadrant counterclockwise. 1 quadrant over, so that's quadrant 1. The signs for quadrant 1 are positive and positive. Okay, which is 1, 4. We're going, imagine a circle here. We'd be going 90 degrees over. One quadrant over, 90 degrees. Then our last point here is 1, -5. So we switch the numbers, 5, 1. Okay, we don't care about the negative there. We just switch the positive absolute value of each of those coordinates. Then to find the sign of the coordinates, we need to look at the quadrant we're going into. So again, this is in quadrant 4. We're rotating 90 degrees. So we're going one quadrant over. That's going to be quadrant 1. Quadrant 1 is positive, positive. So +5, +1. So we're going to go, you can imagine a circle. Okay. We're going, go to the bust. Okay. We're going 90 degrees over. So we can connect our new triangle. Let me draw in the old one. Okay. The new one is this one right here. Oops. Let me put it in black. Okay. So we rotated all these points 90 degrees, 90 degrees, 90 degrees. Okay, step 1, switch the coordinates. Step 2, determine what quadrant it's going to go into to figure out the sign. The other type of rotation we can do is 180 degrees. Doesn't matter if you go clockwise or counterclockwise. If you go clockwise 180, counterclockwise 180, you're going to end up in the same location. Okay, so what we're going to do is negate, which basically just means switch the signs. The signs. So positive is going to go to negative, negative is going to go to positive. Okay, so let's plot our points. We have 1, 3, we have 2, 0, and we have 5, 2. So 1, 3, all we're going to do is take the negatives. So -1, -3. 2, 0, we're going to take the negatives, -2, -0, which is just 0. 5, 2, which becomes -5, -2. We've now rotated this 180 degrees. So this was A, this was B, and this was C. This is A prime, B prime, C prime. Everything's rotated 180 degrees. Okay, or you can think of it as going this way. It's turning around the origin. Okay, the last type here is 270. You don't really ever need to do a 270. You can just go 90 degrees the other way. Right, so if you go 90 degrees and then 180 degrees, that's 270. Or you could, that's counterclockwise, 270. But to get to counterclockwise 270, you could also go clockwise 90. So we'll do it both ways though. Okay, they're giving us the point 1, -4. Okay, let's do it the way they want us to. They want us to do a 90-degree rotation and a 180-degree rotation. So we take the point 1, -4. And we do a 90-degree rotation, counterclockwise. Let's go counterclockwise. Well, to do a 90-degree rotation, we flip the numbers, so it becomes a 4 and a 1. And then we have, step 2 is we have to figure out what quadrant we're going into. So again, we don't care about this negative, right? We just wanted to take 1 and 4, flip them. Okay, and then we want to figure out what quadrant it's going into to figure out the signs. So 1, -4 is in quadrant 4. If we do a 90-degree rotation, it's going to end up in quadrant 1. The signs for quadrant 1 are positive and positive, so we're just going to leave it at 4, 1. Okay. Then we want to do our 180-degree rotation. Okay, to rotate 180 degrees, we just change the sign. So +4 becomes a -4. +1 becomes a -1. And we're going to be at -4, negative 1. So we went 90 degrees, right? Then we went 180 degrees, okay? So to get 270 degrees. The other option is to go 90 degrees the other way, clockwise. Okay, so if we go 90 degrees clockwise, we have 1, negative 4. We switch the numbers. Okay, it's in quadrant 4. If we go clockwise 90 degrees, we'll be in quadrant 3. The signs for quadrant 3 are negative and negative. So negative 4 and negative 1. Which is what we got going the other way. So you can go 90 degrees clockwise or 270 counterclockwise. Same thing. All right, let's do the other point. So 5, negative 1. It's right here. Again, we can go 270 degrees counterclockwise or 90 degrees clockwise. Let's do it both ways. So we have the point 5, negative 1. Okay, if we do it the way they tell us to do a 270, we got to go 90 and then 180. So if we do a 90-degree rotation counterclockwise, we got to flip the numbers. So 5, negative 1. Again, we don't care about the negative, so we just flip them. 1 and 5. Okay. 5, negative 1 is in quadrant 4. So if we rotate counterclockwise, it's going to be in quadrant 1. The signs for quadrant 1 are positive and positive. Okay, then we can do a 180, or we switch the sign. So positive 1 becomes negative 1. Positive 5 becomes negative 5. So we should be at negative 1, negative 5. Okay. So we did a 90. Then we did a 180. Okay. The alternative could have been to do a 90 clockwise. So if we did a 90 clockwise, we would have had 5, negative 1. We switched the numbers, so it becomes 1 and 5. We went clockwise from here, 90 degrees. We went from quadrant 4 to quadrant 3. The signs for quadrant 3 are negative and negative. Okay, so we match. These match. Okay, so there would be our two answers. Okay. And that's it for the rotations notes.